Yo, what is up, YouTube? Today I'm finally, for the love of God, finally doing CD collection part 3. I know it's been about two and a half months since I've done one of these, but again, a lot of crap going on in my life, college, and the semester's coming up, so, you know, I haven't had a whole lot of time to do much other than work on my stuff, but I'm finally going to be doing a part 3, but first we're going to start off with Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory, one of my all-time favorite albums. I love Linkin Park, one of my all-time favorite bands. Probably my favorite band of the 2000s. I don't know, just Linkin Park holds a special place in my heart. Rest in peace, Chester Bennington. You were amazing, and you will always be missed. You will always be loved. Amazing songs on here, from Paper Cut to One Step Closer to In the End. Forgotten's a cool song, too. Crawling is an okay song. I think it's a little overrated, but it's decent. It's not too bad. And then I got Reanimation, which is a remix, and it's a pretty good remix, actually. I'm not gonna lie, and I love that album cover too. Next up is another one of my all-time favorite albums, and it's my favorite. That's my mom. Don't worry about her, guys. She's annoying sometimes. But this is my favorite Linkin Park album, one of my all-time favorite albums, probably top 30 favorite albums. Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory. Not Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park Meteor. I'm sorry, guys, I got mixed up there. But Meteor by Linkin Park, I love this album. And it has my all-time favorite song by Linkin Park, which is Somewhere I Belong. I just love that song. I don't know why. Just nice flow to it. And then Breaking the Habit, you know, it's a softer song, but it's a really, really good song. Don't Say is a good song. Faint, Figure 9. Numb, of course. Amazing album. And then we get to the era of Linkin Park, which I'm not the biggest fan of, which is the 2010s. I think they were kind of okay and not that good in the 2010s, but I kind of like 1,000 Suns. I don't think it's that bad, like a lot of other people say. This is whenever they started incorporating more electronic elements in their music. Yeah. I also want to get Minutes to Midnight, but I don't know. I just haven't got around to getting it. Living Things, in my opinion, this was their last good album, in my opinion, because I like some of the songs like Burn It Down, Skin to Bone are on here, excuse me. Pretty good album. Oh boy, people are gonna make fun of me for this. Hey, I'm trying to make a YouTube video here. Limp Bizkit, Significant Other, which is a guilty pleasure for me. I know what you're going to say, oh, Limp Bizkit, and yeah, I know it's bad, but it's just kind of a guilty pleasure, and and I got this at Plaza Records, which is a local record store in my area. I got this years ago, like whenever I was first starting to get into music. This is one of the first CDs I ever bought, but it's just kind of like a guilty pleasure. And honestly, like, the musicianship is not bad. Like, Wes Borland, I think, is a good guitar player. It's just Fred Durst who kind of just ruins the band, in my opinion. And then New Old Songs, this was free from my uncle, so yeah, I just decided to keep it. It's whatever, you know. Meatloaf, Bad Out of Hell, is this a remaster edition? Essential Rock Classics. I got this at Walmart for like $5, and it's a pretty good album. One of the best-selling albums of all time. It sold like 46 million copies, I believe, so yeah, it has sold a lot of copies. But pretty good album. Rest in peace to Meatloaf. Like some good songs like the title track and 2 Out of 3 Ain't Bad and Paradise by the Dashboard Light. The only album I have by this artist, but I want to get at least a few more, the ones I also like. But Marilyn Manson, The Golden Age of Grotesque. Marilyn Manson, some people like him, some people don't. I like quite a bit of his stuff, but lately his music has kind of been but I like Marilyn Manson. I kind of like how dark and messed up he is, but yeah, Marilyn Manson, my favorite song on here is probably Use Your Fist, Not Your Mouth, but This Is the New Shit is good too. What's up next? And I want to get more albums by this band, but I only got 2, but they're one of my favorites. Macedon, Blood Mountain. This is a special edition, comes with a DVD of like a behind-the-scenes making of the album. For any of you who kind of are into like stoner metal, sludge metal, progressive metal, just metal in general, I would really recommend Macedon. Most of you probably know who they are, though. I mean, they're pretty popular, so. But yeah, And then the other album I want to get all their albums because all their albums are really good, but I only have that. And then I have a special edition of The Hunter, which also has a bonus DVD to go along with it. And it's kind of falling out of the case. Don't want that to happen. But a pretty good album. And the DVD's pretty good too. I like the song Black Tongue. Oh, next we get into one of my bigger collections, but we got Metallica, Kill 'Em All, which is their debut album. A pretty underrated album. I mean, a lot of their classic fans like this, but honestly, better than the Black Album. The Black Album's good, but the first 4 albums are better than the Black Album. The thrash era. But this song right here, though, is a classic thrash metal album. I love that album cover. And the songs like No Remorse and... No Remorse is probably my favorite, but Seek and Destroy, Metal Militia, Whiplash, Hit the Lights, Four Horsemen, Jump in the Fire, like classic thrash songs. If you don't like thrash metal, if you like thrash metal and you don't like this album, you're not really a thrash metal fan, just gotta say. Next up, we got one of my all-time favorite albums, probably top 15 favorite albums of all time, and my favorite Metallica album, Ride the Lightning. This album is a classic thrash metal sophomore album, just a classic album in general. But like Fight Fire with Fire is an awesome song. The intro is cool. Ride the Lightning, the title track is cool. For Whom the Bell Tolls is pretty cool too. Creepin' Death is my favorite song on here easily. Every song on here is just good. Like 10 out of 10 album. Love it. Next, we get to probably one of their most popular, definitely in their top 3 most popular. And for good reason, because it's really good. Master of Puppets. This album is awesome. This was their first album to like, well, they were popular before this with Ride the Lightning, and Kill 'Em All kind of got popular, but this album really set them off the charts. This is what really got them to be like a household name, was Master of Puppets, and I love that album cover. I love the title track and Battery and Disposable Heroes. Disposable Heroes is my favorite song on this. Next, we get to And Justice for All, the first album without Cliff Burton, because most of you know he passed away in 1986 in that infamous bus crash that happened in Sweden while they were on tour for Master of Puppets. But Jason Newsted was not a better replacement, but he was he was a good replacement, but he wasn't better in my opinion. And I think most people would agree. But Jason Newsted is pretty best. It's just sad because Lars and James both turned down the bass on this album. So, you really didn't get to hear Jason's like full potential on playing bass. And they turned the drum fill up like way too high. So, you get that doom, doom, doom. You hear more drums than bass. And I think that's a problem. And I think it should be all equal. Next up, we have the Black Album by Metallica. I got a sticker on there. This is the first album where fans were really divided because they thought they sold out. Did Metallica sell out? Yes, but it wasn't like a bad sellout. It's not like they completely switched genres. This album still has some good, hard-hitting riffs on it. It has some good songs. I will say, though, Nothing Else Matters is a garbage song. This song is absolute garbage. I don't want... Like, it's not even an opinion. That's a fact. I don't care what anybody says. But Enter Sandman is good, and I think it's a little overplayed, but it's not too bad. Sad But True is awesome. Holier Than Thou, The Unforgiven, Wherever I May Roam. My favorite song is The Struggle Within, the closing track. I just love how fast it is and how hard it goes. Oh, that is the wrong place to set that. Hold up, I got my CDs mixed up. Don't know how I did that, but I did. Next up, we got Load and Reload, 2 albums where I think even the Black Album fans were like, yeah, Metallica's not that good. I mean, between both albums, there's only like 4 good songs. That's Ain't My Bitch, King Nothing, Memory Remains, and Fuel, in my opinion. I don't have Saint Anger, probably never will. That album's garbage, but I do have their 2008 album, which in my opinion and most other fans' opinion was their return to their roots, and that is Death Magnetic. It's a special edition I have, and folds out like this, and then got this, and then there's all the band members. This was the first album with Robert Trujillo. I can't pronounce his last name. I apologize if I pronounced it wrong. But this album is awesome. All Nightmare Long, Cyanide, The End of the Line is awesome. My Apocalypse, Suicide and Redemption's a cool instrumental piece. Yeah, this was a good album. This was like a good return to their roots. And then I do have, and I want to get Hardwired, but I don't have that. But I do have their latest album, which is 72 Seasons. And album's not too bad, but what I hate about the CD is the packaging. Watch this. One, it opens up. Not one, not two, but 4 different ways. Look at that. That's how it opens up. And then you got the manual, and then you got the CD right in the middle. And also, there's no track listing on the back here, so if you want to see the track listing, it's only either on the CD or the bottom right here. And plus, like, what if you're in your car and you're trying to change it while you're driving? You can't do that with this because it opens up 4 different ways. So yeah, you gotta like, I don't know. I think it's a really bad design, but decent album though. But again, the CD design is really bad. Like, whoever made this deserves to be executed for how they designed it. I'm just kidding about the execution part, but really they need to do a better job of designing this. But again, decent album. It's not too bad. Just put that back on the shelf. Next up, we got Megadeth, Peace Sells, But Who's Buying? Pretty good album. I like Megadeth. Do I like them as much as Metallica? Oh no, it's kind of a tie, to be honest, because they're both in my they're both in my top 15 favorite bands of all time. So, you know, it's kind of a tie, you know, almost, you know. Then I got Megadeth remixed and remastered of Rest in Peace. I hate the remixed and remastered, but it was the only version I could find for cheap, at least. This one, luckily, is not a remixed and remastered, but Countdown to Extinction. This album almost made it to #1 on the Billboard 200, but guess who beat him? Billy Ray Cyrus with friggin' Achy Breaky Heart garbage, you know? This should have been #1. But still a pretty good album. My favorite song on here, and probably one of my top 5 favorite songs by Megadeth, is High Speed Dirt, which is a really good song. Skin on My Teeth, Symphony of Destruction, Architecture, Progression, all good songs. Sweating Bullets. Next up, I don't have a whole lot of Megadeth. I think I only got like 5 Megadeth CDs. But again, guys, I'm not made of money, and there's not a whole lot of record stores within my area, so you never know. And people who sell them online like to sell them for outrageous, ridiculous prices. So yeah. But Cryptic Writings, I got the silver cover from Megadeth, and it was the last album with Marty Friedman, and it's okay album. It's not too bad. Megadeth Dystopia, this was kind of like a return for them, in my opinion. Like, probably their best album in years. I don't know, pretty good album. They actually got them their first Grammy, too. What do I got next? Next up, let's see here. Oh, yeah, Neil Young Harvest. Not really a Neil Young fan, but I like some Neil Young stuff, you know. I want to get more albums by this band because they're a really cool band, but I think I only got 1 of their albums right now. Yeah, and that's 9 Inch Nails' Downward Spiral. This is all I got, sadly, but I really would love to get like Pretty Hate Machine, which is my favorite. I love Pretty Hate Machine. And then, of course, there's some other albums I want to get too. Next up, I have No Doubt, Rocksteady. Pretty decent pop-punk band from back in the day, you know, Gwen Stefani. Pretty sure they were like pop-punk. I don't really listen to them a whole lot. Soundtrack to Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey. This has some pretty decent artists. It's got Foo Fighters on it, which is pretty good. Third Eye Blind, decent. Offspring, good. Then you get Smash Mouth, Hootie and the Blowfish. Ben Folds is on here, which is pretty awesome. I like Ben Folds. Not Another Teen Movie soundtrack. This has got some pretty good stuff like Smashing Pumpkins, Orgies, System of a Down. Scott Weiland from Stone Temple Pilots is on here. Marilyn Manson, Saliva, Stabbing Westward, Goldfinger, Good Charlotte, Muse. So again, pretty good stuff. Nazareth Classics Edition. This is part of the Classics albums, where it's pretty much this like brand. They pretty much put out these albums called Classics, and it's like volume whatever. So this is volume 16, and it's all Nazareth songs. So yeah, I like Nazareth. Good classic hard rock from the 70s. Oh, now we get into my juicy stuff. We got Blizzard of Oz by Ozzy Osbourne. And so this is the 22-bit SBM digital remaster. Now, the crazy thing about these is that I did this for all the ones, and I have this one, and I have... So I have 4 of these albums that are this version. So the original album cover, or the original album cover is this, and I really didn't like it. But on the inside, they have a bigger version of the album cover. So what I did is I just folded it up, folded it backwards. So whenever I slide the sleeve back into the case, it shows the full album cover instead of just like this tiny square. And I think it works out better. But great album, one of my all-time favorite, another one of my all-time favorite albums. Classic songs on here, Steal Away the Night, Crazy Train is pretty good in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of Goodbye to Romance. I think it's an okay song. Suicide Solution's a really awesome song. As controversial as it is, I really like it. Next up is Diary of a Madman by Ozzy, and I did the same thing. This is another one of those 22-bit remasters, and I just flipped the album cover to get the bigger version instead of having the square. And yeah, this is the last album to feature Randy Rhoads, but it is a damn good album. It is good. A lot of good songs on there. Next up is just a regular CD, not the 22-bit remaster, but I got Bark at the Moon. Funny story, my mom was telling me that whenever she was a kid, in 1983, whenever this album came out, so she must have been, let's see, she must have been 9 years old by that point. She was born in 1974. She was talking about how this album cover was sitting on, she was sleeping in the living room, and this album cover was sitting on the floor. And whenever she said that whenever she saw the moon reflect into it, she literally saw this album cover and like Ozzy's like demon face, and it freaked her the hell out. So I think it's a pretty funny story to relate to this album. And yeah, pretty good album. Honestly, Jake E. Lee, I believe that's his name, Jake E. Lee, the guitarist, is pretty good. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Yeah, Jake E. Lee on guitars. He's a pretty good guitarist. Again, not better than Randy Rhoads, but a good replacement. And next up is Ozzy Osbourne, The Ultimate Sin. This is another one of those 22-bit remasters that I just flipped the album cover around. And yeah, this is a pretty good album. Probably my, I don't know, probably my third favorite album. I love this album. And I love this album cover. And this album cover was really controversial when it came out. For obvious reasons, but... Satanic Panic of the 1980s. Ooh. Oh my god, our children are going to be possessed by Satan. You know, they're going to follow Satan's leagues. Like... Come on, really? A regular CD, but No Rest for the Wicked. And this was the first album with Zakk Wylde. And I don't know. I don't know. I like Zakk Wylde as a guitar player. I don't know. I mean, he might be a little bit better than Jake Lee in my opinion. I don't really know. I'm kind of tossed up on that one. But no one will be as good as Randy whenever it comes to Ozzy solo. Another one, the 22-bit digital remasters, is No More Tears. Again, did the same thing with the album cover. This is easily probably my third favorite album by Ozzy. If I personally had to do my top three, number one would be Blizzard of Oz, then Diary of a Madman, and then probably No More Tears. A lot of good songs in there, like Hellraiser, Mr. Tinker Train, Mama, I'm Coming Home is a really beautiful song. Next up is Ozzy Osbourne, Osmosis, the first Ozzy album where I'm not really a big fan of it. It's okay. It's not bad, but it's not great. Ozzy Osbourne, Ordinary Man. This is from 2020. Not a bad album, but it was okay. An album that came out 2 years later that I thought was much better was Patient Number 9. This album is pretty good. Got a lot of guest musicians on there. Like Mike McCready from Pearl Jam, Zakk Wylde, Tony Iommi's on a couple songs, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, rest in peace. And then I got Ozzy Osbourne, Randy Rhoads Tribute. I love this album. The Essential Ozzy Osbourne, just an Essentials. I got that one for free from a friend, so, you know, decided to have it in my collection. And then Ozfest 2001. This has got some, it's got Ozzy Osbourne, System of a Down, Rob Zombie, POD, Drowning Pool, Edema, Black Label Society, Down, Hatebreed, Soiled with Zakk Wylde, Floss, Third Strike, Pulse Ultra, El Nino, Meshuggah, and Andrew WK. The one that surprised me the most was Meshuggah, you know, because they're kind of different from those other bands listed. Offspring, Smash, the most best-selling independent album of all time. It was completely independent. They recorded it themselves, paid for it themselves. Sold over 11 million copies. Punisher soundtrack. This is a pretty decent soundtrack. Drowning Pool, Nickelback and Puddle of Mud. Ugh. Queens of the Stone Age though. Seether, Smile, Empty Soul, Trapped. Ugh. Chevelle, and then we got Damage Plan with Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. Pretty good. a decent soundtrack. You got Nickelback on there, like, ugh. I want to get Infest by this band, but I got Papa Roach, Getting Away with Murder. Pretty decent album. It's got Scars on there, one of their more popular songs, but I want to get Infest. POD Satellite. Not a big fan of POD, but I do like that album. Released on September 11th, 2001. I know, right? Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. One of my all-time favorite albums. Probably top 10. Love that album. Cemetery Gates and the title track and the art of shredding. Psycho Holiday. Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power. Equally as good, in my opinion, if not better. I don't know. Far Beyond Driven, first metal album to ever go #1 on the Billboard 200. So it was definitely record-breaking album, and it's awesome too. Nice and heavy. Power Trip, Nightmare Logic. Rest in peace to Riley Gale. This CD came with a poster, which is up on my wall over here. But it came with a poster, which is pretty nice. Then I got the album cover. Really good album. Only 8 songs, but I think most of the songs are like about 4 minutes, so it's about the average size of an album. But really like chunky, really riff heavy stuff. Okay, guys, I think that's going to be all for today. I do have another row. I usually go by rows, which have 2 sections each, but I don't know. I think I'll split this off into a part 4 and then finally a part 5 for you guys. So yeah, there'll be 5 parts total. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm sorry about my absence. Just work and college kind of just gets in the way, and I haven't really had time to focus. So again, I apologize for that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.